Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Mohamed Nosair.
I'm Dr. Chatelain.
Welcome to the Montreal Heart. We have a very interesting case for you today. Can we have the slides, please? So we'll be talking about a calcified multivessel PCI in severe AS and cardiomyopathy. This is let my colleague present the case.
So this is a patient, 82 years old patient, male patient, known for diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, COPD, and he's having a dual chamber pacemaker. He has also a severe aortic stenosis with a mean gradient of 32 and an aortic valve area of 0.94 centimeters square. He's also known for a mixed cardiomyopathy with a reduced left ventricular ejection fraction. At the admission, he has normal blood test, and he was first referred for a pre-TAVI coronary angiogram.
So you can see the angiogram. It's a radial exam. You can see there's a lesion on the left main. There's a lesion on the diagonal. And if you look closely at the left main lesion, there's two nodules that are very significant. There's almost a CTO of the circumflex, very heavily calcified left system with tortuosity, and the right system, RCA is a CTO also. So there was a heart team discussion, and the patient was surgically turned down and referred for a TAVI plus PCI. The syntax score was 42. Syntax score 2 is 62, with a 4-year mortality of 64 for either PCI or CABG. And the STS score was calculated, and it was 5% mortality. And the Euroscore 2 was 7.8%. Next slide. So the points of discussion here were, should we do the TAVI first and then the left main PCI, or should we do the PCI first with mechanical support following a aortic valvuloplasty, then the TAVI in third place? These were questions that are very important to ask, because either way things could go wrong. After discussion with the TAVI team and the heart team, we opted for TAVI first and then PCI. And actually the TAVI was done yesterday with an Edwards valve S3 Ultra 26. There were no complications during the procedure, and you can see on the image that the valve looks very well in place with the aortogram. And there was a transthoracic echo performed post-TAVI that showed an LVEF of 35%, a mean gradient of 12, and an AVA of 2.3.
So the key points for today is to discuss about the options for management of calcified complex multivessel disease in a patient with a LV dysfunction and severe aortic stenosis, as well as to review the calcium management, specifically the calcified nodules, in context of a left main disease and bifurcation approach. We would like also to discuss the value of the right heart catheterism in high-risk PCI patient, and also finally the needs for LV support in freshly implanted TAVI patient.
So our plan today was to start off with the right heart cath. And the right heart cath, you want to extract the PAP pressure, systolic mainly, get the cardiac index, and also it's very useful to have a continuous PAP monitoring during the procedure. And using these values, you would determine if you need LV support or not. So today we did the right heart cath, and we had a systolic PAP of 30, and the cardiac index was 2.3. So usually my cutoff for putting an LV support would be 1.8. And in this case, especially that we have a freshly implanted aortic valve, we didn't want to go through the valve with a large impella for no good reason. So I think it's prudent to be able to perform the angioplasty without ventricular support and use pressors if need be. Our initial plan was to perform a radial approach, XB35, 7 French. Initially, we will see the images, but my plan was to perform left main circumflex orbital atherectomy followed by left main LAD orbital atherectomy, and use imaging for stenting and TAP technique for the circumflex for provisional LAD left main. That was the initial plan, but of course usually when these kind of cases, they're very complex, and when you start the procedure, it doesn't always go as planned, and you need to be ready to change your plan according to how things are going. Next. So upon cannulation of the left main, you can see the first image, there was significant ventricularization and drop of pressure. This for sure complicates things when you need to push and pull and perform atherectomy. So I had to be prudent during my injections. Next image. So I took an LAO cranial view, and here you can see the nodule of calcium in the left main, and you can see the nodule of calcium in the ostium of the LAD. And also you can see the diagonal, which is tortuous and calcified. It's almost a 2.5 vessel. So we had pre-discussions regarding atherectomy in this tortuosity. What would be the better choice? It was not very easy to choose because when you're dealing with a calcified nodule, usually better off with orbital atherectomy. I wanted to attain that diagonal, but with orbital atherectomy, the vessel size is limited, and because of tortuosity, it becomes risky. So after discussion with the specialists from CSI, we concluded that probably the diag would be better off treated medically. And I kind of agree with that opinion because it would be a lot of effort with risk, and the territory is not massive in such a sick patient. We have to put everything into perspective. Next image. So followingly, I crossed the, can we play the image? I crossed the CTO of the circumflex using a Fielder XTA and a Turnpike LP. I got into the distal lumen, and then I had to reevaluate my plan because I had, again, drop in blood pressure when I would cannulate with the XB. So I was debating, should I just pursue my plan and perform the atherectomy with this 90-degree angle and risk of having drop in pressure and maybe dissection at that site? Or should I just perform simple atherectomy, LAD left main, and keep it at that with possibly simple procedure, no complication, and good results finally? And after thinking, going back and forth and discussing with my colleague, we opted to keep it simple. Atherectomy, left main, LAD with imaging. So let's see the IVUS. So I wanted to perform IVUS first, but the IVUS would not go beyond that LAD lesion. So I took the images as I got them. So we'll show the IVUS images now of the left main nodule. So as you can see, we have a reference diameter of 4 by 4.3 that was measured, and we're getting now close to the ostium of the left main. You can see the calcium nodule protruding into the lumen and complete shadowing behind. So this is where we are now. I have my orbital atherectomy in place, and we're going to start working live. Let's have the live fluoro. So as you all know, the orbital atherectomy, there's only one size crown, which is the 125, and we're in place now. We're going on the live image. So I'm going to come closely, prudently to the ostium of the left main because I know it's going to ventricularize and I don't want to have drop in pressure at this site. I'll advance a little bit the burr, and we're ready to go at the ostium. There we go. So the technique with orbital atherectomy is to go very slowly and pull back. So you don't want to go quickly because you want to get as much sanding of the lumen as you can. And you use the sound as an indicator if you're obtaining good results or not. So here I hear resistance. So I'm going to hold back. And usually you should do 30 seconds run. Let's save this fluoroscopy. So we'll go again. Very slowly. And then you pull back. Advance a millimeter per second and then pull back. You want to avoid that spring and jump. As you can see, the hemodynamics are pretty good, but for sure my guiding is not selective in the left main. We're getting beyond that bend. And my plan is to do slow speed left main LAD. And once I have smooth runs into that mid LAD before that second curve, I'm going to go on high speed in the left main to be sure to sand that nodule. So the beauty of using orbital atherectomy is that you can do retrograde. So since we're dealing with an ostial left main, I don't want to start high speed in the guiding catheter. So I'm going to be decannulated and I will sand it retrogradely. So let's switch to high speed now. And I'll do it backwards. Try to go slow. Make sure to get that ostium. We'll go very slowly. I'm going to stop in the middle left main, make sure I decannulate and do another run retrograde. Okay, I think this should do it for that. I will cannulate again so I don't lose position. Pressure, as you can see, is slightly ventricularized, but it's a bit better than before. I think I'll take out my crown and I'll do an IVUS now. Okay. So things look not bad. We're very close to the ostium. There's that nodule in the proximal main, nodule in the distal main, but there's no complications. The size is good. I think we can perform the IVUS now. I'll probably switch to a regular wire. Let's take the microcatheter, switch to regular wire because we're done with the orbital. I can show my hands. There you go. So this is a 135 Turnpike LP. Delivering very beautifully to the distal LED. Very good. Let's take out the wire. I'll take the run through, please. We'll prepare the indeflator. So I'd be very curious to see the IVUS image post-atherectomy. Okay. So I like to remove the microcatheters with Hydroglide. I put it on the indeflator and go to high pressure. And then it comes out beautifully on its own. No need for exchange length wires. There you go. Okay, let's perform the IVUS. Let's have the IVUS image, please. Let's go on pullback. So that's the LAD reference diameter where I plan to stop. It's coming back. So we see fractures in the calcium here at 6. There's more fractures there in the calcium. Same thing in the calcified nodule midway. It's a circumflex ostium. Now we're getting to the left main distal nodule. Now we're getting to the proximal. And we see fractures in the calcium nodule down there. Stop the image. Can I see the left main ostium, please? Because we saw the that ostial nodule. Just montrer le tronc. We show the left main at the end of the left main, the last run of the left main. At the very end. No, more. Go further towards the ostium of the left main. That way. Let's see the ostium. Further. Go slowly here. Further. Stop. So you see there's 3 sites of fracture of that nodule. So the only way to find out now is to inflate balloons. All right, let's take a 2.5 non-compliant, please. We'll see how that expands in the proximal LAD and left main. And if you have difficulty delivering stents at this point, it's probably the angle, the calcium nodules coming out. So we will resort to guideliners and mother and child. Let's go to 14. Off. So we have a measurement of 3.2 and 4.5 in the prox LAD. So I think we're safe to predilate with a 3.5. Can we have a balloon 3.5, 15 non-compliant, please? Well, let's go in the ostium. Go. 18. Let's see how that looks. Looks pretty good. Off. So as you can see, once you're working in the left main, you need to maintain short inflations just to maintain the hemodynamics. You should not forget, even if the valve is changed, we still have an EF of 35, and it's likely there's a good ischemic component. There's a CTO of the RCA and a circumflex. It's probably something that we'll discuss in the future if the everything evolves well. So I've had good expansion on my balloons. So in this kind of case, I prefer using high radial strength stents. Probably for the LAD, it should be okay. But for the left main, I will probably be considering a Megatron because the high radial strength, and you can really take it up to good diameters. And there goes the stent. So we'll deliver at this point. I'll take another, please. Go. A 4024, please. Where's he? 12?
12.
So this is a 40. Need to keep in mind that we're using a 5.5 guide liner, so you can probably deliver the 40 through, but you won't be able to take out the balloon once it's used. So you'll have to take them both out. So I think we're ready to take one final stent for left main coverage, because we covered the distal left main with that last 4 stent. Maybe we'll take an image here, see what's going on. So let's take a 4.5 by 24 Megatron, please. Okay, let's take a 4024. So we don't have 4.5, but it doesn't matter because it's a Megatron, so it can go up to 5.5 easy. Let's get a 4.5 by 15 non-compliant balloon, please. Okay, let's test here. I think that looks like a good landing. Let's take a cine on that. That's a good landing. Quickly and down. 8 and
8.
down. Down. So at 8 atmospheres in the distal main, we're 4.4. I think it's acceptable. Okay, let's go here to 14.
14.
Okay, so we don't find that calcium nodule anymore. It's gone. Off. Okay, let's do the run back. Okay, we'll deliver maybe distally. Beautiful. There you go. Let's take a cine on that. And let's start the image. Is good. Let's go pull back. So we have very good stent expansion. There are no floating struts. Everything is opposed. Now we're in the prox LAD, coming back into the distal main. All struts are opposed. A little D-shaping here, but I think you cannot expect perfect round result with such calcified nodule. There's the bifurcation to the circ. Now we're getting into the left main. We'll see if the sizing is good. Everything is opposed. Now we'll see where I landed in that ostium. Perfect. So strut ends at the cusp. I don't think I could have hoped for better. So the diag is still in place. Circumflex is still there. And we have a really good result with the ostial stent. Perfect. Let's pull my wire and do a final discount. Beautiful. So that wraps up the case for today.